talking about reality TV, talking about being genuine, talking about being real. Look at the Kardashians. Good for you, Kardashians. Good for you. Every one of you. So genuine. Had a 20 years on TV. Everybody's keeping up with the Kardashians, in and of itself, like not commenting on any of that, just talking of just the people and being genuine and being real and sticking to yourselves and being yourself, right? And letting it all be out there on your terms, right? Because they're gonna, as everybody in the media or all these people trying to report on everything they're gonna create their own stories and their own versions of the truth, but you're out there being the truth. And it's so, and to have something be so consistent of a show and to see some of the just genuine love that you have for one another and that you have for people, and the gratitude that's expressed for people around you is incredible. And no wonder you're the biggest, like reality family on the planet. And you're just real. You're just being yourself. As Oprah said, if I would have known being myself was going to make me this rich, I would have done it a long time ago. Which, by the way, I feel that she's not just saying rich from a money perspective. She's saying rich from a fulfillment of life perspective. Oprah, help me. Is that right? Let me know. Let me know. Because I just feel that. I feel that from your words there. And I feel that from all of these, again, the most influential people that have ever walked among us. They're real. They're genuine. They speak from their heart, and there's no facades. What you see is what you get. Are there times in which there have to be facades because there's this kind of natural duality within us of having to be one person to a certain group and be a different person someplace else? Absolutely. But that shouldn't have to be how it is. We should be able to be and just have one version of ourselves. How much effort do we spend keeping up with what version of ourselves we're giving to the world and any person we're interacting with? So much energy that we could just spend appreciating life and spend just being fearlessly. Can we just be fearlessly? Just be. And be in that and leverage relativity. We talk about leverage and business. They talk about leverage. They talk about leverage from a financial perspective. They talk about that. Einstein said, and I ran across this quote earlier today. He said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Eighth wonder of the world. And he said, and he says something like, if you're not, Riley, help me out.
He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it.
Einstein said the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest, and he who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. Right? Can we try to understand one another? Can we try to understand what it is that we're actually making choices for in our lives instead of just going through the motions? Understanding eliminates conflict. Understanding brings us together. Understanding helps us understand the perspectives of one another. If we spent just a little bit more time understanding, we might be surprised by what we find. We might be encouraged and inspired. And we might find the opportunity to be more compassionate, to be more present, and to try and understand where someone else is coming from. Saying something I've said previously, literally every argument that's ever existed in the history of the world is probably because there was an expectation of one that was either communicated and not heard or understood from the receiver, or not communicated and expected to be mind read by the other. And then what happens? Brrr, commotion, discord, all this crazy, inharmonious stuff because of a violation of expectation. But if we tried to understand and instead of immediately trying to fight, wow, what might happen then? What might happen then? Right? And and as something I've said previously, building on Einstein's quote of compound interest and Warren Buffett's, love of compound interest, if we understand ourselves and we understand the choices that we make and we understand what it is that we're doing, we contribute to the compound consciousness that we are developing for ourselves and ultimately for society and for everybody that we interact with, for everyone that we come in contact with. When we're elevating and trying to understand ourselves, we in turn are trying to understand our world. And that becomes something, and that evolves into something, and that flourishes into something, right? That's all part of coming into a level of awareness in which we're trying to understand, we're trying to think, we're trying to not just go to the next thing or chase success, but be in the journey and be here and be present, living in the best part of relativity where time doesn't exist or we don't think about time, right? Being more in those moments and finding those moments and figuring out how to do that, whether it's in our own lives or in the lives that are documented in film and music and art or even in our own stories of our own families and our own world. If we can reflect on certain things and try and find the things the thoughts and the feelings that happened, and then see what happens, see what ultimately happened, putting those pieces together